Hey guys, how's it going? Anthony Muthurajah here, back with a new video lesson for y'all. Today I want to talk about the Jaco Pastorius approach to pentatonic scales. Alright, so what is a pentatonic scale? It's a 5-note scale. Now from the major scale perspective, it's the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 5th and 6th degree. So in the key of C. Now from the minor perspective, A minor, 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7. Okay? Now needless to say, it's very important to play the scale all over the neck in every way possible. And when I say every way possible, something like right? All over the neck, every fingering combination possible. Okay, so the first thing we're going to take a look at is the sequences you can get within a pentatonic scale. Now, what is a sequence? Now, typically, if you play a scale, let's say a C major scale, you can do a sequence of thirds. Right? You can take the same thing with a pentatonic scale. Instead of doing, you can do sequence of fourths. That's the most not sequence of fourths, sorry. Yeah, actually it's a sequence of 3, but you won't have thirds, consistent thirds all the time, right? Because over there, since it's a 5-note scale, the actual interval will not be a third, but we are playing in thirds, if that makes any sense. So from A, the 3rd note is D, and then from C, the 3rd note is E, from D is G, from E it's A, G, C, A, D. Right? And then you can do it backwards. Right? Now that's a sequence of technical thirds. Now, based on that sequence, you can create other kinds of sequence. Something like this. So, look at it this way. If you're looking at it as 8th notes, the second 8th note is the intended target tone. 1 and 2, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and then you just add the pentatonic note below it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and that's something he uses a lot. Now there's another one from Havona. Now the thing with these sequences is that they look easy, sound easy, but trying to play them, especially at speed, is very tricky because the notes, I mean not the notes, your fingers have to move very closely to each other. That's a tricky move. This is way easier. But if I have to do, that's tricky, right? So spend time with that. Right? Then trying all kinds of odd combinations. Something like that kind of a thing. Right? Now, the cool thing about combining and trying all the possible variations is that you can not only play melodies, but you can also play grooves. Like one of the common grooves that Jaco used to do is right, or right, and obviously there's also the rhythmic combination, but I already did a lesson on that, so I'm going to put the link right below in the description. Okay, now the next thing I want to talk about is subdivisions. Now, playing the pentatonic scale in every subdivision possible. And what I mean by that is not just 16ths, not just triplets, not just eighth notes, but everything possible. So what I actually used to do was I used to write etudes of pentatonic scales, but with various rhythmic variations. So I would start with just quarter notes, eighth notes, and then triplets, maybe quintuplets, just combining and trying to find total freedom within the pentatonic scale. Right now, what that starts to do to you is that you will have a very strong rhythmic independence of the scale, because the biggest problem with the pentatonic scale is it's got this generic sound. If played a certain way, that's so I don't like it. It sounds, I mean, no offense, but it just sounds too traditional Chinese-ish. So I don't like that. So what do I do is, if I want to take this, you know, I can just do like a right. So try with quarters, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm just going to go random sequences. Quarter note triplets, sixteenths, six triplets, 30 seconds, and then trying to mix and match different notes. And actually this is something you can do with any scale, but it's a little easier to do with the pentatonic, because, I mean, not easier technically speaking, but because you know the specific notes you have to go at. So just try and put a click. Actually, I wouldn't even put a click. I would just consciously try to change the subdivision in my mind, and then just mess around with pentatonic scales, and then it just gives you great ideas for phrasing. Because if I say play 16 notes, that doesn't mean you do. No, 16 notes can be right. So 16 notes doesn't have to always be a string of 16 notes, but rather space, and then with that space you can utilize other subdivisions as well. And this is something I heard immensely in Jaco's playing. Like one of the solos where you really hear this stuff is from Havona, especially when he goes Right? So, to summarize what we just talked about, pentatonic scales, the first thing is sequences within the pentatonic scales and spreading them out and playing them as close as possible as well. And then the second thing is subdivisions within the pentatonic scale. And obviously, eventually, you want to just open this up to everything you practice, right? So for me, one of the most important things is when I practice one idea, say one phrase I like, I try to dissect the phrase to the point that the phrase is not a part of my playing, rather the ideas and just the inspiration behind it is there in my playing. Alright, so I hope you guys got something out of that, and until the next one, I'll see you guys in the shed. Peace.